Okay, well, we'll wait till the course has started to be reset, because... Yeah, that's fine. Let's get that up and then...
When those first came out, I had a company out in California that sponsored me and gave me 7 of them.
Really?
And I kept one for myself, and then we have 6 of them with braces after the jet ski races, like in the pits.
Yeah.
After everybody's been drinking and just, give it a damn,
I
just
remember
give it hell. Give it hell.
when the Coleman went for racing, Daisy was like drunk in the pits doing donuts on her bike after the races. It was hysterical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just press that, that's it.
We were one race, we had a golf cart, we figured out how to make a wheelie, we were wheeling all over the pit.
You put the big guy on back.
Exactly.
You guys are wild.
College, when did you graduate college?
2019.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness. You're old enough to be my daughter.
We're supposed to be my mom, man. 25 next month.
Really?
Good for
Congratulations.
you.
You're a quarter century.
So the same punchy graphics.
20s are fun years. 30s
Yeah, we've got a little
are
six
great
DVD
years.
package.
I've heard.
40s,
I think
you're
somebody's
making
got
money
stuff
years.
like that.
40 suck, yeah.
So,
I was gonna say, all my friends, like, and they're like, once they, everyone grows to be your 30s, but I hear that your 30s are actually pretty decent. Because your life is, like, stabilized,
you're going to do those graphics.
supposedly.
You're going to go
Yeah,
graphics.
you can't drink. Turn 40, you can't drink like you used to. Dave, hang your
I can't even do that now.
I don't know to record time.
I'm hungover for a
Yeah.
week.
Right. Yeah, last night was the biggest I went in a long time, man.
I mean, I have not hung out with you a lot, but I saw a lot last night.
That was a lot of my past. That's what you seen last night.
You're right.
I know, this town's just weird, I mean, because like there was nothing going on over in the pits, right? Like there was nobody over there, and everybody was kind of so spread out, you couldn't really find something to do.
Right.
But the difference in the shots.
Well, that's cool, going to sleep. A Red Bull vodka would help you a lot right now.
There you go.
Wouldn't it, Laura?
No, what?
Yes, whatever you say.
Really, Laura? I thought we were better than that together, but.
Did you say vodka
She
Red
meant-
Bull?
Oh, yeah.
He meant A game and vodka.
A game of vodka, yeah.
I did look for A games earlier and I couldn't find it, so.
No. They had some over at the P1 trailer.
I feel like I haven't tried them yet.
You haven't tried it? It tastes just like Gatorade.
Oh, really?
It does. I mean,
Thank you. Put it up at the right time.
It's
You
all-
don't know when the race is going to start.
it's all
It's just
natural.
not physically impossible, isn't it?
It's got,
Well, that can't be good for you.
I guess, honey
Still
and
boats on the
sea
course at the
salt.
moment, so that
And,
could be.
I know 2 of the investors. You know Levy, don't you? Richard Webster. He used to race the P1 Panthers.
Okay.
I forget
Well, we've
which
had that,
boat he
we've
used to
had the
race.
package before,
But
because
him
it
and
looks like the game.
Danielle used to be a photographer for P1.
Not just on the FA Cup,
They got
or
married.
you're at the commercial
And
race.
that's one of the things.
Well,
he
coming back
invested
to
in.
You know,
He owns a bunch of storage units, and he's got the storage unit boat that's out there too.
Oh, okay.
They own that boat too. But they
The energy drink market, though, I mean, look how many people have tried to come into it. And when you're competing with the likes of Monster, Rockstar, Red Bull, it's so hard to penetrate.
Great stuff,
Like,
thank you.
Honestly, that A
Pictures
game,
look lovely,
what they
guys.
run too well at is competing actually against like
But we've got new
Celsius.
batteries on for the start of this race and everything,
Like
haven't we?
a healthier version.
Brought
It's
them,
like,
Tom?
Yeah. Like I say, it doesn't have
New batteries on
the
everything.
shit and the energy drinks that makes you go,
Yeah.
your heart
I
palpitates.
am
walk, like if I'm punching the time clock to do work and I'm drinking alcohol, I'll hit a Red Bull vodka to pick my ass up.
If that makes sense.
But I have insomnia pretty bad too, so I don't usually sleep a lot.
Because I think they can go quite quickly when they
Yeah.
want to.
I'm a Coke with ice person in the
Well,
morning.
there's a helicopter
Alright.
gone through shot on.
I've got to have ice, and I've got to have the Coca-Cola
Both
over
those
top
counts,
of
I
it.
think.
You know, I can't drink like Coke out of a
So we
can
need
or
is shot through, gone
it's
through
got to be
frame.
over ice.
That'll
Out of the glass.
Tom's, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So Laura, do you
You're
live in
recording,
Florida?
you're
Yeah, I'm
recording on.
based in Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in Tampa though.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I worked with a production company
Did
in
you
Ybor
watch
City
Shots
for
on
a
it?
couple of years.
Oh, cool.
Oh shit, this was back
Well, you know
in
it's on the start league. No, it's not
2010,
there.
2011, 2012.
I'll tell
Back in the
you.
day.
What was the name of the place? That was the
Rob
time, I think that was called Tampa
Ron or
Digital.
Tom, if anybody could get
Right
us a
there in
shot
Ybor
of that
City. Right there in
helicopter,
Ybor City.
could you just follow that helicopter, keep going? Do you want to bang that into record there?
I was talking to Mikey earlier.
Just follow that
Just
Tom
about
for
the
us
change.
for a few
Right.
seconds. It's just,
People actually want to live
yeah,
in
just a
Tampa
few
and
seconds of that. We
I
just
knew, I knew it was getting better, like right along the river, right?
Yeah, it's like a wharf and all that.
Yeah, it used to be ghetto.
It used to be real bad, and I know because the church I went to as a kid is in downtown.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's wild how much it's changed in the
The
last
same with St. Pete, like this Central Avenue. Central Avenue used to be ghetto.
Yeah, but see, you see a lot of like still ghetto down here because like we were
Oh,
walking
yeah.
around trying to find dinner last night, and homeless people were walking up to tables that like people have gotten up on and picking up food off the tables and shit. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't leave your car unlocked here.
450.
I was talking to Logan about this actually though, because we're in a La Quinta, like 15 minutes that way, and you know there were homeless people in the lot when we parked at night.
What are you in a C group, C group, C team or something? They make a B team of all this thing at this place.
It's usually cost based what we say, and also based on how many rooms people say will want. Because especially we've got
If I'm the
a
promoter,
large
if I'm the
crew.
promoter and you're my crew, you're at Airbnb at the house together.
That's a good
I ain't
idea.
putting you in harm's way because I know the homeless people at the Laquita that you're talking about. You know,
Right.
you just
No,
you keep
Logan
me.
and I were loading up stuff in his car this morning, and there was like empty bottles all over the lot. We were like,
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah, what happened here last night?
just turn the internal mic off on there.
And it's hard to believe that's a soccer field across the street.
This one,
Yeah.
Like I thought it was a baseball field all day yesterday, or all night last night.
I wish I would have known that you guys had this room yesterday because I would have sat up here with my beer.
Well, I-
Now, the only thing that I don't like, I like to take out a Bud Light. And I heard last night that $3 Bud Lights. Right, like this
Not bad.
things I remember.
For a stadium.
But then you look over here and there's nothing but fucking rainbow flags.
Is this a big?
Jason, yes.
LGBTQ community
Is it really?
is big into
But Tampa's like that. Well, Ybor City used to be like that.
Ybor is still like that.
Is it really?
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, it was like a, what do they call it? It's like called, not like Guava or something like that, but they used to have a big little gay club that was there when my mom was like a teenager.
Oh, really?
College age, and now there's a different one.
I don't mind if you're gay, it's just keep it away from me. You know, I mean, I can see it, I don't need a brush to my face.
I don't care what your beliefs are about anything. You just don't have to make me believe.
I mean, I don't think hanging a flag would be trying to make people believe anything.
No, not for anything.
Yeah.
But people are trying to force it down my throat. You know, like, okay. Although I just did this, I work for Stanley Black and Decker, the power tool company.
Oh, yeah.
Mikey, if you're there,
I had to take
we're going to go in a little bit. If you can just not have your mic, but tell me on Unity that you're there, or either Laura or Mikey, so that we're good to go.
Copy that, we're good to go, buddy.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every detail is more vivid and more vibrant than you could ever imagine. Where soothing waves beckon you to explore it all. Where miles of America's best beaches meet a world-renowned art scene. This fall, immerse your senses in St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida.
To St. Petersburg for the Visit St. Pete Clearwater final round. My good friend Mike Yasoski, I'll tell you, man, the drama keeps building here in St. Petersburg.
Well, I'm guessing that you made it over to the pits today, right? Like after the first race, you probably went down to the pits and talked to a couple of guys. What was the vibe? What were people thinking after, or what went down in that first race?
Well, I'll tell you what. After the first race, Arminio Iantoska comes in, points leader, leaves in second place. Here's McCluggage. As we take a look right now at our course guide, this is the course that our racers are checking out there. This will be the second race for them. Again, we've got about 11 course marks out there, about a mile in length.
Beautiful day here in St. Pete. A little choppier. Now the clouds have started to move in as we looked out the window of our 13th floor room here. Starting to get a little bit cloudy. Maybe the water has calmed down as we get ready for this second race, sorry.
And coming in. All right, taking a look at the race highlights here. The hole shot, you can see very tight right there with Snyder on the inside. However, it would be 131 who would grab the hole shot. That was Francis.
Checked out way early.
And unfortunately for Francis, didn't work his way up.
Yeah, that's a tough day for him. I really enjoyed getting to see him up there.
Came off his boat, but then McCluggage, man, I'll tell you what, like the star he is shining here in St. Pete so far here.
And this was the pass for the lead because Daly did lead for just a little bit, and then this was the pass for the lead after Daly and McCluggage went back and forth quite a bit, inside, outside, throwing their nose at each other, trying to find that way around, but Chris was able to make it stick finally.
Mike, you don't poke the goat.
No, not by any means.
Well, he poked the goat, and look what happened.
Yeah, right. More like poking the bear in this case.
The checkered flag for Chris McCluggage here in St. Pete. Race number 1 is in the history books.
Ultimate performance. Ready to race. Ready for fun. From the backyard to the racetrack, Traxxas radio-controlled vehicles are engineered for years of high-speed, high-flying fun. Visit your local hobby store to experience the fun of RC from Traxxas, the fastest name in radio control.
The 2004 Next Cup Series champion. Here they come to the checkered flag. Who's it going to be? Kurt Busch will win. Kurt Busch wins in Vegas. Kurt Busch.
I'm Kurt Busch, NASCAR champion, shifting gears.
Welcome back. Visit St. Pete Clearwater, final round of P1 Aquacross. Mike Yasoski joining me up here in the booth. Mike, I'll tell you what, we've only got 2 races left here in 2021. Only 50 points left only 2 points right now separating first for second.
Well, that first race of today really kind of topsy-turvy things, especially with Chris winning. Remember, he was second in points, just a little bit behind the first-place rider, and he was able to take the win and get another Broward Sports bike or ski between him, which even gave him a little bit more of a cushion.
So again, Broward Motorsports racer Chris McCluggage going on top of Arminio Iantosca. Unofficially, I've got 166 to 164. That's what I've got. Back in the third spot right now with 149, still Torrey Snyder, Christian Daly with 146. Brian Baldwin still hanging steady there in the fifth position. So
is it Chris or Iantosca in the lead?
Well, you got Chris in the lead right now by 2 points.
2 points, okay.
Iantosca gained 16 points a little bit earlier today. Chris gained 25, came into the race 7 behind. And
if Iantosca was able to get into third, he probably still have the points lead because that would have covered
the 2 points, right? Yeah, he would have been tied right now. And now what happens if there's a tie? Like I say, it comes down to the third race tomorrow. It comes down to the third race. Whoever does best in the final moto will take the overall victory.
So it's like motocross, whoever's win. Usually more points are awarded in the second moto in motocross, which will be the definitive act. If it's 1-1 or 1-2 or however it goes, it's usually the second moto that decides it. So same thing here. It'll be the third race tomorrow morning that'll have the biggest outcome. Did you get a chance to talk to anybody between the first race and now our second race?
Well, I talked to a couple people. They were all at the VIP booth, though, and the VIP booth is absolutely amazing.
Oh, okay.
It's out there on the end of the St. Pete Pier.
Okay.
This is the first time I've been to the pier in probably 15, 20 years. We used to race here all the time with the World Cup stuff that we used to do. But, walking out to the end of that pier and seeing everything and the development, man, it's absolutely, it's incredible. Speaking with folks in between, I did speak with a couple folks, Chris McCluggage, very, very quiet, very humble. I think he's got his head down and he's poised to come out here and do what he needs to do. You can take a look. There's Chris right there. Easy to pick out with the bright 46 numbers. He's going to be in that pole position. But let me tell you something, Mike. Pole position does not mean you have the best starting position necessarily here with Aquacross.
Okay.
You could be actually starting. Pole position could actually start you from the outside or possibly the inside. Normally, somewhere in the middle is the best place to be in Aquacross when you're starting.
So where will he start in the line?
Well, he will be starting on the inside.
Okay.
So he's going to
all the way on the inside.
Exactly.
Oh,
so he's going to be going one way. Other guys are going to be coming right at him.
But people can pinch going into first turn.
He could get pinched
down. Right?
Yeah, exactly. He could definitely get pinched, and so winning the first race, has its advantages. Obviously, 25 points, but has its disadvantages too because depending on what the course looks like. And you can see just how many racers are out there. 20 racers here in this. Again, as we pointed out.
It's a lot more than 20, but we know that it is 20 because we found out that they separated the pro and the amateurs.
We've got 20 on our sheets.
Okay.
If anybody else dove in, we don't know.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
We're probably going to be able to tell you who the leaders are, though.
Well, let's hope so. We tried to do the best we could. So they'll do another full parade lap, right?
Well, they should be ready to go here on this lap. They do 2 laps during the first start.
And that's it?
Okay. Yeah, and then they do 1 lap on the second start because they don't do the penalty lap where they show the penalty buoy. They actually show the penalty buoy on the first lap.
Okay.
So we see the U.S. Coast Guard out there with us. Special thanks to the U.S. Coast Guard and all those service members that keep everything safe for us and allow us to race, on a weekly basis.
They're the reason we get to do what we do on the weekends here. Army, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Navy, and even all the local municipalities, the police departments, the fire departments, the public works guys, got to thank all of them because it really takes an Army to bring this type of event here, controlling the water, shutting the water down.
Brian Baldwin, who was in 5th place coming into this one, had some mechanical issues in that first race, and it looks like he is back in.
Okay.
He's pulling back in. Now, depending on how he came back in, it could decide whether he loses or gets docked, rather, a couple of places.
Okay.
So if he comes back in on the same boat, he'll be exactly where he's at.
Okay.
He'll be placed exactly where he's at. But if he comes back in on another boat, on a backup boat, he'll be docked a couple places.
Now, what did Ian Tosca do between race 1 and race 2? He had the most to lose because he had the points lead going into it. Obviously, 4th was a good salvage for the day, but he needed to be a little bit further up there. Did he go back and change something, you think? Where's his head at?
I would think, Ian Tosca, he's running with Dean Charrier right now. And Dean Charrier is one of the best mechanics out there. And I would say that Charrier basically probably went all the way through the boat just to make sure that if Ian Tosca's out there, he's completely healthy. All he's got to do is get on that boat and ride.
Double check, triple check.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I would think, that Ian Tosca doesn't have anything to worry about at this point. I think that he's got one of the best mechanics in the world out there.
From a mechanical perspective, he doesn't have anything to worry about.
Right. So Baldwin's got a new ski. That's what we're getting told up here in the booth right now.
So he's going to get penalized.
So if he wins, if he takes first, he'll get like second or third place, or he'll get third place points.
Okay.
But that's if he wins. So now Baldwin.
But if he doesn't, win, does that happen?
Well, if Baldwin, who came in 5th place, he's kind of playing the spoiler right now. So if he does win, all them points, he takes that 25 and meshes it up, and McCluggage needs those points.
He does. Yeah, for sure.
A 2-point lead is not that much. And Ian Tosca. Ian Tosca right there, 164 points, 149 for Tori Snyder, 146 for Christian Daly. Again, this is unofficial. This is what we've got up here.
That doesn't take the 3rd and 4th place boats out of it, though, even though they're 20, 25 points back. If one of these racers wrecks, doesn't finish, and they already give it up in that first place and get 25 points, it's really it'll really jumble things up. It's a very, you can't understand how tight of a battle it is to 1 through 4 right now, to be 164, 166, 149, and 140. Like, it's incredible, the difference.
Only 50 points left.
Yep.
There's only 50 points available. And 40 for most riders.
Right.
So here we go as the green flag gets ready to fly here on race number 2. P1 Aquacross, brought to you by Visit St. Pete Clearwater.
A little bit of a slingshot there, but now we get the green flag.
We're getting the green flag. Yeah, it looked like somebody, had a little premature acceleration. And
he's looking over.
That is 585 Victor Nolan. And now I'm hearing red flag.
Well, I just saw red flag just right at the bottom of the screen. There was a course marshal there. Whoever that green boat was, he really shot up in the middle. He really jumped the start. I don't know if he was trying to slingshot it.
Yeah, Victor Nolan, the Nolanator. He's from the Tidewater area up there in Baltimore, Maryland.
Up my area, yep.
And, great racer. He's another one that, took a little hiatus during the COVID break. Figured, hey, what the heck, I'll have a kid. And so like him and Francis both having kids. And there's Tim Ducat we're taking a look at right now. Tim, one of the only 3 racers out here this weekend on a factory Sea-Doo.
Now this is really going to change things because, as you can see, as he pulls back down into the mill area, they started. It's roughed the water up quite a bit. Now there's a washing machine effect is what we call it in boat racing or poker running, because all the waves are starting to come together. That's going to have a different, now they're almost starting on a different turf because of the water conditions have changed ever so slightly, but because they got up on plane, they produced the wake, and now they've got to get them back down into, now they're going to have to go back down that way again and restart.
Yeah, you can tell just how rough it is. You can see the pace boat right there. As we get set to go again, and there's Snyder on the inside. Easy to pick out with that teal green boat.
That's the Visit St. Pete boat, a local sponsored boat here. They'll actually sponsor an offshore boat tomorrow, but he pulls out to the early lead on the inside.
Yeah, Visit St. Pete Clearwater. Tori Snyder, a 3rd place, I believe, in race number 1, and he is still up there in the points as well.
Now, if you're watching at home, this is 30 minutes plus 2 laps. As my broadcaster partner, Mike, it's Mike in the Morning Show, will start his stopwatch so we can kind of keep track of what's going on.
And that's Ian Tosca.
Yeah, that's Ian Tosca right there. He is in second.
Ian Tosca sitting in second right now. Like I said, this is going to be a barn burner.
But the question is from our vantage point, where's Chris? What's happened to Chris? Because he's not within this top 3 that I can see, and I'm only basing upon that and seeing the green number because that's the only thing that I've really learned in working with you in the past couple of hours.
And we were talking about this, Mike, the whole team thing. You know, there's a lot of Broward Motorsports racers out there. There's a lot of Riva racing racers out there. You know, do you think that one would block for the other? And we were looking at some of that in some of the amateur classes.
Blocking would be tough, but not passing your partner, teammate, if he's in the lead. He's got points lead.
So I see 243, Jimmy Wilson also up there in the mix, running.
Still
in
no
the
sign of
top
Chris,
three.
though. Still no sign of Chris. Now we're into this race. Just a couple of minutes. Everybody's starting to get kind of separated out, but still no sign of Chris McCluggage. We don't know where he is, as we're trying to just get a shot of him here.
Again, you take a look there. There's a 243, Jimmy Wilson, originally from Hebron, Ohio, now makes his home in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Spends his Mondays through Fridays as a fireman. And there's McCluggage. McCluggage he had a horrible start.
Yeah, he's way back.
But again, you know, we talked about this earlier, race number one. It's not how you drive, it's how you arrive.
Right.
You know, let's see how that finishes. And you can see the battle right there for second place. Erminio Iantosca is still leading that battle for second place. And Iantosca needs every point that he can get.
Yep.
Again, 166 for McCluggage, 164 for Iantosca as they came into this race right here. Not, you know, only one more race to go. I mean, after this one, so, you know,
it can kind of be decided here. It can, depending on where the gap is and how far things spread out, it could be decided here. But of course, the way the racing's gone, just looking at our first race of the day into now, it's still anybody's race. Still trying to find out where Chris is, though, and exactly what position he's in.
Well, I'll tell you what, take a look at that guy right there, the young gun from Bradenton, Florida, just 30 miles south here of St. Pete. Torrey Snyder, sponsored by Snyder Build. He's got Tim Judge spinning the wrenches, another one of the great master mechanics that you'll see out there in the pits. And Judge himself, a former world champion in personal watercraft racing, so I know he knows how to spin the wrenches the right way. As we take a look at his pilot right now, Torrey Snyder in first place, got about I'd say 2 to 3 second lead, and starting to extend on that, Mike.
And Iantosca is we believe he is in second place, but it's a pretty big gap from 1 to 2. There you can almost see it. I would guess maybe about 5 or 6 seconds by this point. But remember, Chris in the first race didn't get the best start either, and he picked off through the field and got all the way up to first. He didn't start in the lead.
No, that's right. You know, and that's the one thing about McCluggage. You know, he doesn't get nervous. He doesn't get antsy off the start. You know, that's why they call him the GOAT. That's why he's the greatest of all time. You know, this guy knows how to pick and choose his times, when he needs to pass, when he needs to go, and obviously one of the best surf riders ever. And even though we don't have a lot of surf out here today, but you're still going to have to read that chop. And the chop is coming from every which way. You can see the flotilla on the outside of the track right there. Everybody's starting to come in to check out the races as we get back on board with our leader, Torrey Snyder. His father, Troy, known as the Slugger, another one of the top racers in closed course. Now making the switch here to endurance as we take a look at our top 5. 110, Snyder out in front. Iantosca, as you pointed out, in second. Then you got 105 Daly. Then you got the 243 of Wilson. And there's McCluggage. He's back there in the 5th spot.
That's a bad spot for him to be in. It's almost kind of like the roles have reversed from the first race, where it was Iantosca in 4th and McCluggage out in 1st. Now everything's kind of switched back up. If McCluggage gets in 4th, you might see now a tie in points going into tomorrow's final race tomorrow morning here in St. Pete.
And what are we looking for? A little bit of drama, baby.
I think we've got
a little bit of
it.
drama. I think that we're going to have a little drama here in St. Pete. Again, Torrey Snyder, Erminio Iantosca, Christian Daly, 1, 2, 3. And with Daly right there in the 3rd spot, that still keeps him in the mix too.
For sure.
Remember, you got to remember, if there's a mechanical issue during that 3rd race, you know, hey.
And Daly's within our top 4 points, right?
Yeah,
so he can't do too many team favors here because he's got a chance also. It's not like he's just going to let Chris do whatever Chris wants to do. They're going to have to work to get around it.
And you can see right there, Daly and McCluggage. McCluggage pulling up right beside Daly. And he'll take a look over. Actually, that's Wilson. And Wilson had the position, going to give it up. He's going to give it up to McCluggage.
And Wilson looked over at it. Wilson was like, but see, Wilson also knew that I'm not in it. You know, let's...
Hashtag team.
Yep. You could start seeing that. Chris made that pass pretty easily. He tucked right up the inside. It was almost uncontested. But Wilson couldn't just give him the room around the corner. Knows what he needs to do. So now that puts him up into 4th place.
Yeah. So back probably about 6-7 seconds off the pace, being put down by the top 3 right now. And again, out in front, you got Snyder, followed by Ian Tosca. Daly back there in the 3rd spot. Daly, another one of his teammates. But again, Daly comes into this race right here in 3rd place. You're not going to give up. You're not going to give up a podium spot for,
Chris is going to have to earn this. Right now, Chris is going to have to earn this. He's going to have to work to get this. Snyder is really the only guy, I think, in the front that really doesn't have, a sword in this battle, if you would, a stick in this fire. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles all of it. But Chris is really going to have to just get down to it. It actually looks a little calmer to me now than it did this morning. Chris is not bouncing around as nearly as much as he was during our first race, rather.
Yeah, it looks like that Yamaha's definitely staying hooked up for the Mac attack. Snyder coming into this race in 3rd place. So again, another outside chance.
Okay.
You've got 5 guys.
Again, being selfish with the paperwork, so I can't.
I'm sorry.
See it.
It's my paperwork. Keep your hands on
I know. Beautiful boat, sponsored by Visit St. Pete Clearwater.
I'll tell you what a beautiful visit it is.
It is fantastic.
Great place. We hung out on Central Avenue last night, man, and I'll tell you, this place has completely changed since 15 years ago when I was here last. Went all the way up to Ferg's, and I had never seen so many police cars since I did when they were following a white Bronco out in California.
Right.
So everything was safe.
Everything was safe, yep.
Nothing defunded.
But they're also trying to make sure that everything is running as it should down here, because believe it or not, there are people that don't want us here, or not that don't want us here, but they don't appreciate us being here. Mm-hmm. So when you start to see that, they want the police out there to make sure everything is going how it should.
Great shot there at the outside of the track. Once again, your top 5, 110. Torrey Snyder out of Bradenton, Florida, sponsored by Snyder Bill Judge Motorsports. And, of course, Visit St. Pete Clearwater. Running in the top spot, 94 is Ian Tosca, sponsored by Riva Racing. And he came in the top spot, came into this race right here, 2 points down to the Mac Attack, who's currently running in 4th now. 105 Daly right there playing a spoiler. And 243 Wilson back there in the 5th spot. So once again, you got 3 of the top 5 Broward Motorsports pilots.
So it's 25 for first, 20 for second,
18, 16,
and 16. So
14.
Right now, as it stands, Ian Tosca would get 20, McCluggage would get 16 as it stands, so it would flip by 2 points.
That's right.
That's what you would see happen. It would flip by 2 points.
Exactly.
But now it looks like this is Ian Tosca. I think that was Daly on the inside. So now Ian Tosca may have moved up into second. So add 2 more points to that to go into tomorrow's race. Ian Tosca has definitely realized what he has to do. I'm kind of surprised that Daly maybe let him by that easily. It didn't look like, again, it was an uncontested pass. But I think that's McCluggage coming up behind him. And if that's the case, it looks like Chris is going pretty fast.
And meanwhile, while all that battling's going on right there for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, while they're jockeying, Torrey Snyder got nothing but clean and smooth sailing in front of him.
For people who are listening at home and you don't understand, what happens is when you get in a 3 or 4 boat race, in this case, you actually slow each other down because you're racing as to what's going on around you. You're not necessarily a race in front of you. You're not racing behind you. You're not worried about what's behind you, but you're not running your fastest line. You're running a little bit more protective line, a little bit more defense than offense, and that's what's going to let Snyder get out towards the front, slow these guys up just a little bit. And in fact, Chris probably wants to see this between these 2 boats, between Daly and Ian Tosca, because it's going to slow them down and let him get up there in that mix.
Great analogy, Mike. Okay, so we get a huge battle here for 2nd and 3rd. Once again, I believe that's Ian Tosca and Daly. And there we go. You can see Daly knocking at Ian Tosca's back door. Ian Tosca on the left side of the screen as we view it here from room 1310 up at the Hilton.
But look what it did to Daly as he scrubbed off that speed, trying to look up the inside. Ian Tosca was really able to accelerate very quickly out of that turn. And now this is McCluggage watching all of it happen. I think that's Daly on the outside. Oh, no, look at that. Chris is now caught up to his teammate Daly.
Oh, and look at this. Yeah, here comes McCluggage. McCluggage going to try to work to the inside now of Daly. And as we pointed out, the water not as rough as it was this morning, but still you can see the chop out there. McCluggage having to lift right before that turn right there. Got to pull in the water, man. He's trying to reel him in.
He is, for sure. He tried to look up the inside, but he just had no room to make it work. There was no overtake established whatsoever. So Daly could do whatever he wanted and run to the corner. And again, it happened there. Chris went out way wide, and look at the time. But look, I see a big difference in top speed between Daly and Chris. It looks like Chris's ski is a little bit faster than Daly's because he's catching him on these long straights. I think that's where he's starting to pull him in.
Maybe he pays the mechanic more money because it's the same mechanic.
Maybe. I don't know how that would work, but okay.
Well, what I'm looking at during this whole thing is Snyder. I am so impressed with Tori Snyder. And again, you can see McCluggage trying to work to the inside of Daly to the outside.
Daly looks a lot more relaxed right there than Chris does. Chris is really down all the time. Daly seems to stand up a little bit more.
And you can see Daly look
really,
over.
Yeah, he's really looking around. He's kind of wondered what's happening.
Right, exactly. Where's he at? Is he on the left? Is he on the right? And you can see McCluggage going back and forth and crossing his wakes.
But see, every time he goes through that spray, it's probably just like one of the offshore boats. He's got to lift out of it a little bit, one, so he can see, two, so he doesn't win the whitewash. But that was Daly all the way to the inside. I think Daly might have a problem.
Daly may have an issue right there. It looked like McCluggage actually went up into that third place position. And again, if he's in third place and things stay as they are, let's just say the checkered flag dropped the next lap, that would mean that him and Ian Tosca be tied going into the final.
Be tied going into tomorrow.
Oh, snap.
Now, if Ian Tosca gets Snyder between him and Chris, then that would give Ian Tosca just a lead by, what would that be? It's 25, 20, 18, so it'd be 18, 25. I can't do that right now. I think I burned up my math skills on that one first good points analogy.
Well, I'm glad you didn't go to school at Michigan.
No, not by any means. Some would question whether I went to school or not.
No blue. Okay.
So Snyder definitely continues to lead.
And Snyder, Snyder does have an outside possibility. Taking a look at Snyder's points here from earlier, had 131 coming into the weekend. You add 18 for a third spot. That gives him 149. So
he got a rider down.
He is right in the mix as well. It looks like, oh, that's Daly.
That's who we saw have the problem. Or, well, at least we thought had a problem. He slowed to the inside. He was looking around a lot. I think he knew something was happening with that ski because he was really looking around trying to find out where Chris was. And, yep, they're going to hook it up to the boat.
They're putting him on the gaff. Daly had a bad weekend in Michigan City. He was the points leader coming into Michigan City, man. And just what a disappointment to see him having to come in this way, the second to the last race of P1 Aquacross.
And he had a good first race here. I mean, he was right up there in the mix.
Meanwhile, back out to Snyder, man. Snyder's killing it. He's picking up where he left off in Daytona Beach. Tori Snyder, and Mike, I don't know if you knew this, but Tori came in to the pro ranks this year. He's a rookie and won his first race ever in Daytona at our first race this season. Hasn't been back on top of the podium since. But I'll tell you what.
What a way to start the season. I mean, you're talking about building your confidence and getting out there and knowing what you have to do.
Could be a great way to finish, too, here at Visit St. Pete, Clearwater.
I was trying to watch the gap between Snyder and Ionaska, but I couldn't quite see it. I think we panned out just a little bit quicker. Ionaska, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Arminio racing for a lot this weekend. I'm sure he's got a heavy heart right now. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, going through some rough stuff, man, and on a crazy weekend.
But it shows
I just feel for the guy.
But it shows you what you have to do to be a competitor, right?
He's a champion.
Right, you have to be able to block that. As hard as it is, you have to block that stuff out. It looks like we got 15 minutes left plus one lap. Again, 30 minutes plus one.
Yeah. It just speaks volumes of Ian Tosca. He is a true champion. Win, lose, or draw this year, he is a champion in my book. Going back out to Tori Snyder, boat number 110. He stole the number off his dad.
Did he really?
Yeah, his dad was running 110 on the IJSBA National Tour for many years. Tori came up to me in the pits, second race of the year over there at Coco, and he's like, yeah, I took my number back off my dad because it's my number, it's not his. Love it.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of family, a lot of passing down of in the jet ski racing family here. As you're talking about, Snyder's dad used to race back in the IJSBA days. I, believe it or not, know what that actually is.
Well, yeah, Snyder, his father's actually out there racing right now.
Really?
Yeah, we just don't see him yet.
Okay. He'll come up in the second race.
It's not getting fed up here to 13:10.
Look at this, though. Again, 15 minutes left. There's a lot of time for Chris to be able to get up into second.
And McCluggage is right there. He's got Ian Tosca in his gun sights. You know, the crazy thing is, Mike, is these two kids used to play in the parking lot. They grew up together in Naples, Florida. There was a Mamma Mia's Pizza. There was a gas station right next door. Richard McCluggage owned the gas station. Arminio Sr. owned the pizza shop. And these two kids used to play in the parking lot together. Here we are, 30 years later. 30 years later. And they're still dicing it out for who is going to be a champion.
Now that shot that we just saw, remember I thought that Chris had more speed on the straightaway than Daly. I think Chris has the faster ski because on the longer streets he's able to catch him. It just doesn't look like he's turning as well as Ian Tosca is because they get into some of these S-chicane sections, some of these rights backs to lefts, and he starts to lose a little bit more ground. As I think that was Ian Tosca there, but I know that's not Chris to the inside of him, I don't think.
Yeah, it looks like it's still Ian Tosca and McCluggage as they go into that turn. And, boy, I'll tell you what, it is still tight. Again, your top five, for those of you listening in, boat number 110, it's Tori Snyder out in front, followed by boat number 94, Arminio Ian Tosca, 46, the Mac Attack, Chris McCluggage, 243, Jimmy Wilson, and boat number 201, Chris Landis, has moved up into the top five, sponsored by Riva Racing.
Now, you weren't looking at the screen, but I was while you were reading that. Tori Snyder is just to the right. See that white water right there? That's Tori Snyder. So this group, this 1, 2, 3 group is really starting to tighten up.
Probably within 5 seconds of each other.
I would say, yeah.
From first to third.
And this is where I think Chris is faster coming out of this turn because they run down this way. They make another left-hand turn to come back up the beach. This is the long straight. And I think that's where Chris is faster. But look, now you can see how tight it is between 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, especially, when they're all in the same shot. Right. You can see all three of these together. That means, hold the phone, folks. Put your seat backs and tray tables in their upright and locked position because this party is ready to take off.
Yeah, look how much time Chris made up right there. He is fast on that straight. He really is. I say getting within a rooster tail length, but there's no rooster. He's getting within a couple of seconds of Ian Tosca, and they are actually pushing forward together, I think, to catch Snyder.
And you can
but
see
Ian
just
Tosca
look at Ian Tosca! Ian Tosca moves into the lead. Did you see that?
Yeah, and that looked like Snyder just left the door open to me. I don't know if he didn't I don't think he expected it. I don't think he expected anybody to be that close. But he definitely left the door open. And I believe it looks like I think now Chris is in second place. That is Chris McCluggage. She's now in second. So Snyder in less than 2 turns went from first to third, and now your 2 points leaders are 1 and 2.
Boy, oh boy, he got stuffed like a Thanksgiving Day turkey in that turn right there. Ian Tosca into second. Again, 25 points. That would put him 3 points ahead of McCluggage going into the final. Things stay as they are. But I doubt things are going to stay as they are.
I definitely think Chris is faster. I think he's got the faster ski. I'm really interested to see them come around. Now they're on, I don't know which duration I'm facing, but now they're on the course that's going to turn down into that long straight. And again, I think that's where Chris is the fastest, and I'm anxious to see what he does there.
I'm thinking Ian Tosca's on a mission. Ian Tosca is on a mission. To think that these two guys used to play when they were toddlers, in the parking lot.
Mike, look, I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I think Chris is driving it into the corners a lot harder than anybody else is. I saw that there on that straightaway. Ian Tosca went out a little bit wider, but Chris just held it right to that pin and really took a super aggressive turn. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but that was one thing I think Chris is doing a lot of things right in order to get up in the lead. Not that Ian Tosca is doing anything wrong, because I don't think he is. I think Chris is just pushing a little bit harder.
Chris it looks to me like when he comes into his turns, he's setting up a little bit wider.
Yep.
So he's able to carry that speed through the turn. Whereas Ian Tosca's going pin to pin.
Right. Ian Tosca's running a little bit more defense than he is offense, which he has to be careful with. There's a fine line between scrubbing off too much speed and letting that second place boat catch up to you when you're only separated by 3 points. You can't do much. You have to ride the best you're going to ride of probably your entire career right now. if you want to have a shot at this title.
This is absolutely amazing. Big shout out to all you folks over there in the VIP section at the pier. You are definitely getting your money's worth. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
I would definitely say anybody in St. Pete that's watching this race live is getting their money's worth here today. But one more race to go. Remember, it's not over yet.
Yeah, got one more to tomorrow morning. Now, Iantoska once again sitting in that first place position where he would actually gain 3 points on McCluggage if things stay as they are.
Chris lost a lot of ground. There was a lot of spray. I don't know if he got caught up in some wake there.
I'm looking at less than 10 minutes to go. We're probably right around the 8 minutes and 30 second mark unofficially. Iantoska, making his family proud right now out in front. I can't say enough good things about this guy. I can remember when he was 12 years old and he came out to race, and we were at the Lani Kai down in Fort Myers Beach, and he probably weighed 90 pounds soaking wet. And, man, he's been giving it a heck ever since, and he's never had that great of a deal here with Aquacross. Made the switch from Sea-Doo to Yamaha this year. I mean, there's just so many factors that makes this play out.
And took the year off.
Yep.
And took a year off.
Took a year off last year. Right. Well, we all took a year off last year, unfortunately.
But some people still trained. But if he took a full year off, he didn't train nearly as much. He didn't put as much time in on the boat. And that's a hard thing to come back and adapt to. Right now, though, he's got to run his race. He needs to focus on what he's doing, his lines, hitting his marks, doing everything he's been doing this entire race to keep this lead. Chris has lost ground, though. Chris was not this far behind last time by, so it definitely looks, I don't know where Chris is losing it, but Chris has lost some ground in second place.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got 5 minutes. 5 minutes plus a lap. That is where we're at right now.
Because I think they are getting up into some lap traffic, too, so that could start to have an effect on the outcome of this race.
Well, again, Mike, this is what happens, at this point in the race right now. Not only are these guys spaghetti armed right now,
right.
Obviously, they got the arm pump, everything like that, but this is where mental and physical breakdowns happen, So this is, Arminio right now, he's in the driver's seat. He's got his destiny in his own hands. And let's see if he can hold on to it for another 4 minutes, folks.
He's turning the boat really good. He's making minimal turns. He's not digging in real hard. You saw that before. He's not really squaring it up. He's carrying a little bit more speed and coasting through the turns. He did it there, too, instead of making a hard jut. Well, look at this. No, look at this. That's Chris.
Oh, no. Side by side.
Nah, but look, he's going to have to lift.
He lifted, he crossed over the wake. That's going to cost him a second or two.
He had it, though. He peeked up that inside, and you know what? He said, I'm not going to try and get this up in there. He knew that was a precarious position to put himself in, but I think now he's testing the waters maybe a little bit. Now he's maybe seeing where Iantoska is making, where is he leaving that door open? Where is he not making his move? But Iantoska's just got to race in front of him. Don't start racing behind yourself. The moment you start doing that, you give some hope to the guy behind you. As we heard, this is the last lap. Now, Chris may be a little bit more disappointed himself. He didn't push harder if he didn't realize that was the last lap.
Yeah, you can see Ryan Scaglione right there with the white flag.
This is going to be one heck of a last lap. Chris was really fast on the outside. This is that long straight right there in front of the pier, and this is where Chris was pretty fast. Iantoska is really running a middle line around the course, not really going wide, not really going tight, running a middle line, just trying to carry speed. But look how smooth that turn is to him. A lot of guys are hopping through the turn, they're kind of stuffing it a little bit, but he is just so smooth, silky smooth through the turns.
Again, with the white flag out, you couldn't have storylined this any better. With Iantoska coming in with the points lead, McCluggage comes back, it goes 2 up on him. And now Iantoska, if he stays where he's at, will go 3 up on McCluggage. And
then it just becomes a no-holds battle for tomorrow. That's all it's going to be. It's just going to be it's going to be give it everything you got, turn these stock skis as unstock as you can.
And what better racing, could you have? I mean, that's what racing is all about. It should come down to the final event, the final lap, and to watch these two competitors right here. Just absolutely unbelievable, man. It's just a blessing to be here in St. Petersburg.
Well, we talked about this for motocross and supercross. Chris is not making up as much ground. It's really been a seesaw battle back and forth. I did see a little bit more speed through this with Chris than Iantosca out in the lead, but it'll be interesting to see this. We talked about this in Supercross, though. You watch Supercross, motocross, NASCAR, watch any sports and motorsports. Anytime somebody dominant wins, look at Lewis Hamilton, okay, in the F1 series. Like, the moment you start anticipating that somebody's going to win because they won so much, it gets boring. You know, it's not as much fun to do, and especially for, like, us as commentators, that's horrible when that happens.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you're just like, okay, what am I going to talk about now?
The paint.
Right, exactly. But that's where, you know, Chris was making his move on that other, just on the top side of his leg they're on now. That's where Chris was trying to get to the inside, showed the ski in there to Iantosca, but didn't have the room. But I think...
Hey, we're taking a look at Snyder right now. And
he's got to be happy with a third-place podium. Well, I'm confused by something.
Yeah, I'm confused as well. It looks like they had Snyder out in front.
Well, yeah, they did. They did.
So they have Snyder out in front. And so that means Iantosca would be in second. So that means him and McCluggage are tied.
Yep.
And
I thought.
And now hold on. Now hold on a second. I'm going to do a little moto.
We apologize to Tori Snyder because we thought that Iantosca had passed you. We really, really apologize for that. In fact, we thought that actually got passed for second also. But there were two St. Pete boats out there too, right?
Yeah, there was two Visit St. Pete boats. Troy was on one, Tori was on the other.
So that may have been our mistake. Hats off to Troy Snyder, though. If he made it work, he definitely was up in the lead. Actually led from the start as Iantosca came in second and Chris McCluggage came in third here of the second race in St. Petersburg. This is going to be the last race of the day altogether for this festival happening down here. Tomorrow morning we'll have one aquacross race, and then we will go offshore powerboat racing at about 10:30 in the morning. Go to P1 Offshore on Facebook or on YouTube, p1offshore.com. There are your buddies right there. They're catching up a little bit, talking about what was going on.
Now, this is completely unofficial, with Tori Snyder grabbing that win and taking the 25 points. Tomorrow, coming into the race, are you ready for this? Tori Snyder, 184 points. Chris McCluggage, 184 points. Erminio Iantosca, 184 points.
So a three-way tie.
Three-way tie
first
coming
place
into the final round. That's what it's all about.
This is insane. It will be no holds bars tomorrow for sure, 100%. They're going to do everything they possibly can.
Who's not going to be able to sleep tonight?
We probably will be able to.
You think about these guys here.
I
mean, how can you sleep? You know, you're tied. You know, and this kid right here, what an amazing run for Tori Snyder out of Bradenton, Florida. I'm sure he's got a lot of the local contingent here looking after him. His mom, Jen, I'm sure, out in the crowd, giving him lots of love. His father's probably one of the proudest fathers that I've ever met, Troy, the slugger.
Again, we thought Tori had gotten past, and we weren't calling the race in that fashion. We definitely don't want to take away from him or his family or the success he's enjoyed today, as there he gets the checkered flag. A three-way tie for first place for the championship, which will be crowned at the end of tomorrow.
Again, congratulations. Tori Snyder going to go salute the VIPs over there at the pier. We'd like to say a special thanks to Visit St. Pete Clearwater, CMR Construction and Roofing. Of course, A-Game Sports Drink, man, they got me through the day. ICOM, Mercury Racing, Sunoco Race Fuels, and Myco Trailers as racers get ready to head back to the pits. And you know, I call them Kodak moments. I guess I'm just showing my age there, but Tori Snyder providing some Kodak moments for everybody there alongside the pier.
100%, and providing some Kodak moments for himself as well. But he went out there, he got it done, he did the job he needed to do.
So again, everything you hear from us is unofficial, but
that's his St. Pete teammate. That's his St. Pete teammate right down there to the bottom.
That's his father.
That's his father.
That's
okay.
his father.
So,
Boat number 118, and that's it. Yeah. Troy giving his son some love. Well, let's take a look at some of the highlights from earlier, folks. Congratulations, Tori Snyder. Wow.
So this was the start of this race. That's Torrey Snyder closest to your screen. He got out to the early lead, and he was able to get to that first pin, the first turn first, and from there he just checked out, never looked back.
You know, and even had an issue, you know, midway through the race, you know, it looked like he possibly lost the lanyard, came off the boat, was able to jump back up on it when we weren't looking and still maintain that first place position.
That's awesome to see that. And of course the battle behind this was for second, third, and fourth. As you had Ian Tosca and Chris McCluggage, they were the ones doing battle. Now that was Daly, that was the pass for third.
And right there, you see Ian Tosca getting past Daly.
Yep.
For that second place position. Daly again having some mechanical issues, man. And he was plagued. He was plagued in Michigan City as well. So it's a tough break there for Daly. And see, that was actually Troy Snyder.
That was his dad. Yep, that was his dad. That was our mistake.
Congratulations, Torrey, our winner, race number 2. Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, man, been a great day of racing here in St. Pete.
Uber exciting.
Can't wait till tomorrow.
Yeah, we got a reason to get out of bed in the morning. That'll be pretty cool.
That's right, and so do they. Again, special thanks. Visit St. Pete Clearwater. Thank you so much for all you race fans for listening in. Thanks to all our VIPs out there on the pier. Mike Yasoski, great to work with you, brother.
Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate it. Go to P1 Offshore for tomorrow's race schedule. First race will kick off at 10:30. The first jet ski race will be here at 9 o'clock in the morning.
See you in the pits, folks.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every detail is more vivid and more vibrant than you could ever imagine. Where soothing waves beckon you to explore it all. Where miles of America's best beaches meet a world-renowned art scene. This fall, immerse your senses in St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida.